good whatever to you. Whenever you're watching this episode, number 7 of a movie-making nerd book club. It's more of a book club than a review. We are really diving in deep. I am your host, Dylan. This is my co-host, Tommy the Spurg Snake. How have you been so far today?
Today is great. I was really ill last time we spoke online, and I need to recognize when I'm too sick to do something.
Thanks and I for do coming that on for the episode of Public Domain Theater the day after. I didn't realize just how bad. I thought you were taking care of the dogs when you had to take a break. I didn't realize that was Sick Snake coming out. Yeah. So thanks a lot.
Good answer.
Thank you so much for Under the Weather dropping into my 2 streams last week. And thanks to all you Redditors for dropping in again, getting mostly positive feedback from over there. So glad you guys are enjoying it. Give this a like, subscribe, comment to help get it out to a few thousand rather than a few hundred people, because it's fun goofing on James. He has become like a pioneer. He was a pioneer, is a pioneer of online sketch comedy, and he's kind of like this mutated version of a lol cow. Not like a DSP or Aaron Imholt where they're begging for money, but there's the way he responds to comments of the asshole-ish variety, which I feel like he did several times in this chapter, responding directly to comments and response videos I've seen online.
There's a couple of times, I have them on my notes. I'm slacking. I woke up late today. But I could tell you the exact minute and second that he says one of the things. I'm not sure which one was first, but he goes, obviously. That just is, I'm sure you clipped it. If you heard it, if I heard it, and I know you heard it.
I'm not sure
there was another
if
one
I
later
did clip
on.
Because we did not get many pages into chapter 5. Because this is dense. There is a lot to unpack. I might not have pulled obvious because I just pulled so much that there's some things I'm like, all right, we'll just talk about that. I've got to let it go because otherwise we would just be stopping, which this chapter does lend itself to just stop.
Yes. He does. And you messaged me early on because you started listening before I did. And you were like, I got 700 clips already. I clip a line, and then he says the next thing, and that's as equally as goofballishness.
And I didn't know, but sometimes I would extend it, sometimes I would just pick it up right after, and yeah, it is dense. Thank you, James, for chapter 5. Fuck you for chapter 1 through 4.
Yeah, no shit. Also, yeah, we put up through 4 chapters with 20 subsections each to get to this. This is what people wanted to read. The movie making, or what happened? How did it come out that bad? And
so, yeah, let's jump right into it. Let's not tease you guys any longer. I like to get to the clips within the first 5 minutes, so let's go ahead and do that. Jumping to chapter 5.
Chapter 5, The Big Film.
Is that what I asked for? The big salad?
Section A, AVGN movie, the concept. AVGN
T-shirt.
AVGN
The coloring book.
AVGN
The lunchbox.
AVGN
The breakfast cereal.
AVGN
The flamethrower. The kids love this one. Last but not
that's
least,
it right there.
AVGN
the doll. Me.
I just don't have the time.
I want that
That's
doll.
gold. Speaking of time, that's gold, Jerry. That's great.
The big salad is what I would call this movie because of everything that he just threw into it. Your movie doesn't need zombies and a kaiju and lasers and robots. Every single thing from a B movie he threw in here. That's
and
here's the thing. Budget.
Yeah, exactly. I did alliterations still for this chapter too. I keep doing it. Bimmy's big budget bungle. It's more fun with him. Yay! But early in the chapter, he likes to talk about being like a cult classic versus a bestseller. He doesn't even make that comparison so much, but he says he likes the cult classics. He likes B film. He likes and I'm going to pay a tribute to all of those films by doing a $300,000 blockbuster style film with kaiju and lasers and UFOs and ET and references all over the fucking place. It's like, dude, I'll get to it later, but somebody brought up a good point in the Truther subreddit. Cause they were comparing him to another director who did far better movies on a much lesser budget.
Less, I believe,
that
if we're going to be
bothered me.
nitpicking. So yeah, he does like to claim that he is all-knowing, but yeah, putting them side by side and I'm not that someone. Like, I am full creative end. When I wanted to do a pilot, I was like, I'm going to need a director of photography who's basically like my co-director. I didn't want to direct because you don't want to be the star and the director in your first film ever unless budget dictates, no, you can't afford both those things. But James and Kevin Finn, they are 1 and 2. They are throwing this back and forth, this script. Well, I think I have some audio of it. Let's get to my first clip.
Chapter 5, The Big
Oh, that is
Film.
what we just heard. So I'm going to lose some host points right off the bat for playing the same clip twice in a row. Here is the first clip.
It made perfect sense to combine something that I established on the web with our aspirations of making a film. At the time, the most requested game to review was E.T. on Atari 2600. Kevin encouraged me that it would be perfect as the main subject of our movie.
Kevin's fault.
Yep.
It is all on Kevin. It is. I think that James took a backseat in his own movie very quickly. My theory, both Sean Keegan and Kevin Finn were out in Hollywood and two lowly peons, as I was, and everyone wants to jump the line, wants to cut the line to direct a film. So I think these two LA guys just railroaded James into this because he actually was contractually obligated to make nerd episodes. That's how he made his living. So this actually took from his his regular finances to put this movie together.
Yeah.
Oh, and we were talking about the homage. So here James talks about the homage.
Both had a great sense of ambition, but few resources to match.
Okay, he's comparing Plan 9 from Outer Space to E.T., the video game here, and I was just kind of taken aback by his thought process here. As right now, him and Kevin are passing back and forth the script, so here's what he thought of these two just terrible, awful, so bad they're good medias.
Both had a great sense of ambition, but few resources to match, resulting in a bad work, low in quality, but high in entertainment value. These types of things became cult phenomena. The AVGN movie was meant to be a tribute to this type of cult entertainment. It would include aliens, flying saucers, robots, monsters, lasers, all the good campy stuff.
Lasers. That's where he really made himself giggle. For some reason, lasers is funnier than and I just talked over my audio drop of him trying to pay tribute, which does make sense. There is an audience that would enjoy a tribute to that.
Monsters, lasers, all the good campy stuff.
Just a bit outside.
And he did not hit his target at all. You cannot attest to this yet because you haven't seen the movie. So we're coming from two different points. I know the end result. You've heard about the disastrous end result.
I got this big myth building up in my head now. Yeah, it's there's because there is a lot that goes on with this. It takes him 3 years to get this movie made, and he doesn't have like an actual job. This is his job. This and Angry Video Game Nerd and whatever other videos he puts out.
Which reminds me, a point that we were both going to make and forgot about last time. James kind of got sent to a layer of hell where he is doing like Homer Simpson and the Donuts. Chapter, James was making and editing videos all day and night. It was like a personal hell to him of doing something he loved so much till he was fucking miserable about it. And I can absolutely, I know what he's talking about there. I can relate. because being on a set 12 hours a day for 3 months at a time, playing a character, there was at some point where I started losing my fucking mind too. So I get it,
Understandably
James.
so.
I asked
Yeah.
for this. I asked for this.
Exactly. Oh, and speaking of that, last week's or last episode's notes, I had written down "go back to the porn," because he was editing one of the forklift operator videos, like the safety videos, and they had no idea what they were doing, so they were running around work looking for manuals or anything they can find that had safety guidelines in it. And they opened a locker, and a bunch of porn DVDs fell out of it. And then he just kind of keeps going. I was like, dude, why didn't you give us any of the titles? Was it Backdoor Sluts 9? Was there Young, Dumb, and Fool of Cum 11? What was in there? I want to know. He just mentions porn DVDs and then brushes across it.
The nerd
Like he doesn't know we would want to know that.
The nerd fans enjoy vulgar humor. That's all the nerd is, and it's very sparse. Any dirty language in here, and that would have been a fun, little cunt busters 5.
Right, exactly.
Why did I have to say the word that YouTube hates? I could have said anything.
You got to switch the C word to the T word. You got to start. I think taint is still okay.
Okay, we still got taint for now. Thank goodness.
Taint Smashers 11.
Radio Shaman asking about the upcoming game. That's actually something. We'll get into that. I thought a game tie-in should have been thrown together with this movie. That's something that can, like, a movie is a business plan, and that I thought that at that time it would have been Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 store would have been a great 8-bit inspired, a small team. It could be like action nerd 32 or however many different nerd levels they go, taking off the action 52.
Who was I talking to? Was I talking to you about the AVGN Video Game Nerd? Did I show you the 3DS version? There's different versions of all of these games too.
We were talking about the re-release. Yes,
Yes,
the re-release. They're eventually, unrelated to the movie, 2 nerd games were made. The second one featured characters from the movie. In the re-release, they're all gone.
Mm-hmm.
That and you might have been talking to me because I heard about that too. The movie's a thing. Let's tie them together. And James, no, do not speak.
That's why I was
movie.
thinking about that because he was not happy with the movie, and they didn't release a game with the movie. They released it after, but tried to make it part of the lore. Which
and that
all
was
the people
2.
around James,
because the first one was released kind of around the time the movie finally got released. We're kind of getting in the weeds ahead of ourselves. But 2012 was the game. I think the movie came out in 2013.
Okay.
But he's not talking about that quite yet in this book. He's talking about...
I want to say what's up to Radio Shaman. Hey, dude.
Yeah, thanks for dropping by, Radio Shaman.
My top priority was keeping up with the web videos. The movie script was usually on the back burner. It dragged on for years. We started writing in 2007, and it wasn't completely finished until 2010. Even then, we were still making revisions up until shooting.
My jaw dropped when I heard that he kept revising this and that he was revising during shooting, despite the fact that it's like $1.5 million script for a $250,000 budget.
Yeah, no kidding.
The movie feels like it was never revised. It feels like a first draft, just like this book. James can't write. He does have a talent, and the reviews, he was able to write just quick gags, but plot, characters...
and that's different. That's a whole different beast. Saturday Night Live has tried this multiple times. They're a shining example of taking a sketch comedy concept and betting on it being a cult classic comedy later on. There's some Saturday Night Live movies that are good, Tommy Boy, and a couple others that I can't really come up with off the top of my head, but I know some bad ones.
When I was young, I don't know if I would still like it, but after Wayne's World, I think they had the Blues Brothers, and then nothing until Wayne's World when they were like, everyone, let's make a Saturday Night Live movie.
And that's what I mean, because I really like Tim Meadows. He's probably one of my undercover favorite Saturday Night Live guys. And they made a whole Ladies Man movie. It's a great sketch, but it's hard to build a whole movie around doing it in the butt. And
both that one and Night at the Roxbury, I remember thinking,
yeah, that's
I
another
love
good
these
one.
sketches. This is a bit
Not
much
film.
for 90 minutes.
Yes, exactly. And that's that's the comparison I'm trying to make. This is what James did. He took the character and had to make a 90-minute film with it, which turned out to be, 2 hours? 2 hours 10?
It is damn near 2 hours. It is not quite 2 hours. I actually did a little more research and found out they have deleted scenes. And again, I was like, oh my God, he didn't put every single thing into this movie. There is so much unneeded in this final product that I figured not a single thing was deleted from the movie because he would feel bad of the money that he squandered on it. But 2 hours, 55 minutes. It's the same length as Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, no. All right, James. James!
After it flopped,
Sorry,
After it flopped, it was said that an overstock of 2 million or more unsold game cartridges were disposed of.
talking about the ET, and of course
ET
this was
myth.
actually the ET Atari dump. This was myth in 2008, 2010, whenever James
Big
filmed
caps.
it. 2013. They actually found it shortly before this movie was released, so I did find that funny that it went from
They spoiled
legend
the plot.
to this movie being filming extra scenes for so fucking long that they actually found it.
I love the ET myth. It was a good one, because that was picking up steam right around that time, and a bunch of internet nerds were like, "We're gonna find the shit," and they went to a dump where they thought it was dumped. They looked up the most possible spots that it would be in, because guess what? They keep records at the dump, so don't bury your body there. And they found it. Not only did they find ET, they found Centipede, and it was a ton of backstock. Was it 2 million copies? Not in my opinion. Maybe if it was 4 or 5 different games. Okay, I'll buy 2 million copies got buried.
Okay, I
2
didn't
million.
realize
That's a
that
lot.
it was I didn't realize it was fans that found him. I thought it was construction crews digging in to start a new housing development.
Oh, maybe I'll check into it. I thought I watched a thing where they were like, "We're gonna find this shit."
It's
remember
one or the
them
other.
looking at
If it's the one you think it is, it's actually a better version of the movie here, if people actually went with it. But I actually just started this clip. We're in the middle of it, and James says
go ahead.
something silly in this clip.
According to myth, with quotes,
There it is. According to
big
myth
caps.
with quotes. Thank
It
you,
is a
James.
myth, idiot.
He's done this a few times.
Okay,
He's
and
never,
so
he's
my
never
next
said
line right
with
here after
quotes.
that. Yes, I can't. I just wrote this down because this is mind you, this is the first section, section A. James is a baloney brain. Like, I just can't deal with him. I was so I don't know, at the moment when I was listening, I lose this right here. I start stammering. I can't get it out. He's just frustrating me on some level that
He's causing you to have a Swiss cheese brain. You're just breaking
Exactly.
down. This has happened to me, I believe, with Aaron Imholt as well when we cover him. Sometimes I just get into a stammering circle where it's like, we're done. Fuck that point I was trying to make.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because between him building up the blockbuster cult classic, and 2 million the myth in quotes, and then he starts calling Mike Matei just Matei for the rest of the book.
Matei. I did notice that difference in the book. Matei is written. He does get the respect of being called Mike Matei. And one of our friends from the Cinemassacre Truth subreddit believed that had to do with him trying not to get mixed up with Mike D, which it wouldn't have at all. We haven't heard from Mike D since chapter fucking 1, I think.
Right. What happened to Jeaner?
I think that was his thought in just calling him Matei over and over again. Not even motherfucker Mike. Why was he
That's the one
called motherfucker Mike? I don't know the sketch in which he got that moniker of
We'll get
motherfucker
to
Mike.
it.
That
He
would
gave it to
actually.
himself, I think.
Oh, in that case, if that's just a quick sentence. Mike said, "I'm motherfucker Mike," and that's how
Yeah,
I'll
that's
refer to
exactly it.
him in the book, rather than Matei. Marie Curie, this is the first time I have tagged Cinemassacre on Twitter, so I tagged him. James could be watching this time. If these episodes start going down this time, he watched them and he doesn't like
Yeah,
them.
exactly. That's how you know. um,
That's
and
actually
okay,
why
so
I
ET
wanted
Mystic.
to do a different style with the stream because a lot of people who review his movie with clips from the movie, it gets taken down. I found a new guy who recently uploaded one who has clips, and I'm like, can I get away with it? Do I try to get away with it? Because, yeah, I would like to play clips from the movie when I review the movie, but maybe not.
No, I
I'm
know.
just trying to cover my ass.
Uh, for a quick example, the last music stream I did, which is why I haven't. It looks like I haven't done one in a long time. I played Oingo Boingo, and I went through like the first 5 albums and picked out all my favorite tracks. I had about 2 hours worth of music, and they are blocked worldwide. They were unblocked for a day, then they blocked them again. Then part 1 was available, and part 2 was blocked. Now they just blocked them all worldwide. So YouTube doesn't know what they're doing on the back end, reporting or not. But if you tagged Cinemassacre, one of those people, I know one person's going to see it for sure, and it's not James. But I know there's one guy that's going to watch
Hi,
it. Because
Justin. Hi, Justin.
Old Krusty.
Please remember that we're just doing the same thing that James did to NES games. So it is intensely hypocritical to be like, no, you can't
That's what makes it.
shit on us.
That's what makes it strange, is because the criticisms that goes towards some of these NES games is a little over the top. And just to give him like advice, like, hey, dude, maybe you should try A, B, or C. And he's like, nah, I refuse. All right.
We're still stuck on the myth with quotes. I want to hear that again.
I can't with this guy.
Disposed of. According to myth, with quotes, they were buried in a landfill in Alamogordo, New Mexico. It was proven even back then that Atari did in fact dump a bunch of ET games in the Alamogordo landfill, including Pac-Man, Centipede, and others they were liquidating from one of their local facilities.
Oh, yeah, I have it here. Networking. James put that in quote last time.
That was the other one.
And he had a funny way of saying that. He said there were ET games, including non-ET games, in the landfill.
Yes, there were games and non-ET games. Great. Yeah, that's what I remember. There was like a lot of copies. You can get Centipede and Tempest or whatever else was dumped in there. And he was shopping around his script later in this chapter 2.
Before
right?
we get to that,
I
we're
don't wanna
still
get too far
developing
ahead.
the script, and
Okay.
here is where I was like, you done fucked up. Your autistic brain got you obsessed over this detail and fucked things up, which we'll hear right now.
A game so
Oh, and by the way, I fellow autist here, maybe to a lesser degree than you, so I am just using that as an identifier. My autistic brain gets obsessed over tiny details too, and hopefully I can overcome it if I ever get another chance at making a pilot.
a game so bad it was buried in the desert just a couple hours from Roswell, where a UFO was said to have crashed in 1947, only to have the government try to cover it up.
The first time I watched this movie, I was like, why the fuck is Roswell included as part of the main plot? And it's because he was like, oh, Roswell's nearby. That's
Yep.
going in the movie, along with the lasers
Yep.
and the robots and the kaiju and da 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 da.
Yeah, his movie is like a goulash. It's just got a bit of everything in it, and it just tastes very bland.
It's the big salad of movies,
Yeah, like-
and Elaine would not approve of this big salad.
Is a big salad a meal?
I've never seen it on the menu. Is that all I asked for? Is the big pile of shit?
Poor James.
So yeah, that one really jumped out at me. I suppose in attempting to take away some of these massive amounts of clips that I had, I could have gotten rid of that. But as someone who saw the movie, my ears perked up. I was like, that's why. In real life, Roswell is nearby, and it doesn't fit.
Roswell is
Yeah, it
like a
pertains to
sacred
nothing.
spot.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with anything except aliens. Sorry.
And E.T. is an alien in the movie. I started just going down a rabbit hole of logic stuff. I'm going to recover and let James take this over for a moment.
Roswell is like a sacred spot of pop culture, and since it was not too far from the Atari landfill, the resting place of the E.T. game, I had to invent a way to combine these two alien stories into one.
No, you didn't. Just because things are close by geographically, you had to. There is so many convoluted points in this script, and somewhere just make something simple, please. Because a movie can be convoluted and still good, but if every single thing is convoluted, the kaiju is convoluted, the E.T. thing is convoluted, Roswell is convoluted.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He blew his load on everything. Instead of making a angry video game nerd kaiju movie and an angry video game nerd Plan from Outer Space movie, you know what I mean? Like, instead of doing an homage to each of these types of movies that he likes, we'll just throw it all in the same reel and try to cram it in there.
He does. I don't know if I pulled the clip. He does talk about how he wanted to make a big budget summer blockbuster movie that they make for tens and hundreds of millions of dollars and show that it can be done on a thin budget.
No.
Well, how would that be done on a thin budget? These things that cost every other movie maker ever hundreds of millions of dollars, you're going to do with $200,000. How? He just has no bit. It's a business plan. That's actually something that got me excited, was figuring out what I had and modifying the script around that. It was I was able to get a food truck for free. All right, we are definitely writing in a food truck episode. So because we've got that set, and they've just got everything. They've got a jet. They've got a tank. They've got so much shit that we got to get this.
We got to get this instead of this is what we have. You know, we can work with this. It's like, no, we got to buy these ingredients now. We need a plane. It's going to cost us $100,000 to rent a fucking boat for a day. And he does go into that a little bit. He I don't know how. I don't want to get too far ahead. But okay, that is the next session. The next session where he gets into the finances. And he talks about, in the first part, I think he talks about shooting around Las Vegas a little bit too. Like, he was happy. He saw New York destroyed. He's seen LA destroyed, but not I almost said New Vegas, like it's fucking New Vegas.
New Vegas has been destroyed.
It's going to get destroyed again too in season 2 on the Amazon.
All right.
But yeah, like, season. He was talking about shopping the script around and explaining it to people that so he can get backing for more money. That's like, he gets that right from the end of A and into the part B. He's like, starts talking about finance. It's like he sat down and just with a tape recorder stream of conscious this whole book out from this point on. It was weird.
But we do have proof that he revised it. He said so in the last chapter when talking about his cats, that as of this time where I'm doing final revisions. And thank you, Shelltune. I've got to fix my monitor on my computer. Shelltune TV1. Robert Rodriguez made El Mariachi on a budget of $7,000.
Exactly.
Worked with what he had and succeeded. You figure out what you have. And Money Plane. I love Red Letter Media's review of Money Plane. And
I want to watch that. So bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I want to watch that with like a public domain theater, but someone owns it. It's not public domain.
Well,
but they talk about
join the Discord.
That they had. Yeah, the Discord is a place to do it. I'm not getting the sound through my fucking Mac though. Damn fucking Mac. 2 times in a row, within a minute, I'm calling this Mac a piece of shit. But thank you. Don't become a bigger piece
Don't
of
die.
shit. Don't die on me. Just limp along for a while. You do not have my permission to die yet. I forget where the fuck we were in making fun of James. So let's go to the next clip.
Wait, Las Vegas, shopping the script, budget. He was trying to explain the script to people to get backing at the end of this chapter, and he was doing a terrible job of explaining it to people, because he was explaining the landmarks that are in Vegas. That was like a good idea, like you were saying, that he was working.
Yes, I do think that is a good idea. In concept, destroying Vegas, you destroy the Eiffel Tower, you destroy the Statue of Liberty. In concept, I believe that's a good idea. And just like James's movie that I reviewed last time, The Deader the Better, in concept, that was a good idea. It looked good, but the plot went fucking nowhere.
Yeah, he mentions Deader the Better later in the book, too. He said the people that he was talking to were confused by the script because there were so many landmarks. He didn't tell them that it was Vegas or something, and they thought that they had to fly to New York for the Statue of Liberty shots or fly to Paris to get the... No, I'm doing it in Vegas. No, I think they just were like, pass on your script because it was shit. And
it had to be an incoherent mess, because it's an incoherent mess on the screen. There's no way that it made, because the kaiju should have just been something that the government built out of the UFO. But the kaiju is some sort of deity that is released from Mount Fuji in Japan, wanders over to San Francisco, and then wanders over to Las Vegas. So there you go. There's plenty of where confusion was. Instead of just being a kaiju built in the middle of the desert in Las Vegas,
yeah, that makes sense. What you just said made more sense.
Yeah. And there had to be, so that helped cause the confusion. It was that nonsense, and my head is spinning just from explaining that.
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's why everybody he asked to back him passed. They're like, nah, fuck this. Look at this. This is a
There's
spaghetti
not a business
dinner.
plan. 2 different of my movies, there is a money making business plan attached to it. So this fucking nobody could possibly get funding. There is absolutely, I mentioned before, a video game tie-in made real cheap, NES style, but the fans will enjoy that to help make money off of the movie. And there's no business plan here. He goes in, I want to make a $250 million movie on with $250,000.
Exactly, and that's where we were going. Yeah, get out, get them out.
I wish I would have had a drop for that. Get out.
Or what was it? Michael Jackson Thriller. Go away. He like turns with the yellow eyes.
Go away.
But my character.
Shit, now I lost my train of thought.
Yeah, let's just jump into this next clip. A7. Plot and Bames. I can't. I need to fix my fucking monitor. Damn you, Apple, and your faulty monitors.
The nerd doesn't want to review the game. He feels pressured. It's his worst nightmare, and he's worried that if he reviews the game, it will make it more popular, which actually happens in real life. Many times I've had retro game store owners tell me that when I review a certain game, they'll end up selling more of them. I tell people something's bad, and they go buy it.
That little laugh that he had in there, he enjoys influencing people, influencing culture. They would buy it because of me.
He does. He absolutely enjoys that.
The only time that he's had a difference in his voice is like giggling at himself like that.
There's he says obviously with inflection. He says some things that bother him. If you're listening close, you can catch the annoyance on the undertone and be like, I hate weed. And like, you can hear him when he says it, he's saying it with conviction. That was like properly delivered dialogue. Cause he goes, I hate weed. I don't want to try it anymore. Meow. You know, like, and it goes, there's like just such bland. And then we went with Matei over to McDonald's, and it's just like nonsense details that we don't need to hear. What a goof. Oh, and he wanted to stay out of politics with his movies. I don't want to do politics.
Talking about his review of weed is like talking about his review of the New Jersey DMV manual. It absolutely does not belong in your book.
Right. No, exactly. It was just a comment to make. I think, like you mentioned earlier, he was addressing fan base of the asshole-ish variety. Stop offering me weed at conventions. I hate it.
We've got a few of those asshole-ish variety comments as we move on. And it is a physical, Deadpool pointing out the physical similarities. And we pointed out kind of the personality similarities between Aaron Imholt and our buddy Bames here.
Exactly.
Dude, there is some crossover. Like I mentioned at the top of the episode, lolcow tendencies, but not full lolcow.
Yeah, there's a lot of commonality. You can make that spectrum. You can make the lolcow spectrum of who's way down the end, like DSP or Aaron, and who's way on the other end, like James. He's not really a lolcow, but he suffers from the turn. He had a lot of fan base that loved him, and we're just like, what happened? What happened? You didn't jump the shark. You just stopped caring, maybe? I don't know.
You fade away, or you burn out, and he burned out. Why won't you play, Clip? Let's try that again. Hopefully that it'll play the second time.
We also threw in a giant monster, Death Mothsix. It was a character that Matei and I came up with in college, born from the same creative family tree as...
Go ahead. This clip goes for a while. You got a point.
No, I wanted to clip that name of that thing. Can you say that? Can you say it?
I refuse.
Wahhatsits? Yeah, I refuse. I can't. I was like, what the fuck did he just say? I didn't have the book in front of me, so I don't even know how it's spelled.
It's a gag that him and Mike Matei came up with in college and needed to be edited to fit this movie. Just a kaiju. I hate the name. It's the kaiju to me. I refuse to say that letter sandwich that he calls this kaiju. It's the kaiju. What's your second choice for name? That's another thing that may have just turned up. What the fuck is this letter sandwich of the kaiju in the middle of a meeting?
Yeah, exactly. It's a tongue twister of a name. It's not very memorable. Yeah.
One of those things, it sounds like that he was either one of the few times that he got high and enjoyed it, or he was just drunk. Like, that's something you'd laugh your ass off if you're that giddy phase of drunk and be like, we need the world to know about this letter sandwich we just made up.
Yeah, that's another thing. I think like everybody around him makes jokes and stuff, and he's like, oh, I'm going to run with that. And it's like, well, maybe you shouldn't. It was funnier when you were stoned. Okay, I get it.
There's a lot of things that me and my high school or college buddies came up with that it's like, this is the greatest idea. Get yourself, when the weed wears off, then I realize, oh, this is a mid idea at best. Let's polish it up. James never came to that realization to polish that up.
Yeah, you polish it. Or like what I heard, if you write down 3 ideas and throw away the 2 best ones and keep writing. You know what I mean? Like
that is what it seems like he did.
But you're supposed to do it the opposite way. You're supposed to keep the best one and keep writing more until you get your 3 best out of like your top 10. You know what I mean? Like you really, if you put the effort in, and I don't think he does anymore. He doesn't have the synergy that he had with Mike and Bootsy, where they would work on a script together. He says he does the scripts.
That was his process with the nerd videos everyone loved. What was Mike was his right-hand man, and you had Bootsy and Kyle Justin dropping in. Those side players were non-existent in this script being developed. They were not in on this. James and Kevin, I just got a picture in my mind where they went all gay cowboy on us. And don't worry, wives, we're going up to the mountain for the week to work on the AVGN script. Is what?
Yeah, he does make a point to say that he's always in contact with Kevin Finn since day one. That's like his best bud.
Like
got
Brokeback Mountain. That's what wasn't coming to mind. As we're talking, it's starting to sound like Brokeback Mountain happened with Kevin and James in this long back and forth with this script.
That's why his wife is very ready, apparent, to point out a Caucasian sausage fest. She has extensive research on those.
Let's hear what James has more to say about this kaiju.
As shit pickle, monkey cheese, and super mecha death Christ.
Okay, so this was the same process of coming up with those characters, which worked on a quick sketch that's just wacky to begin with. This is not a movie. That was not a movie. This is.
Whole mythology about the character, how he's the source of all life in the universe, and that he just happens to be a total goofball. He could turn all existence into a bologna sandwich. And there was something hilarious about it, that all meaning in life, everything above and beyond, just comes down to nothing but bologna, silliness.
That's why I made the bologna brain comment earlier. James has a bologna brain.
So James has a convoluted plot, and he's got this kaiju with a convoluted backstory of being a deity. Just making every single thing so complicated. You're putting up all these walls for the audience to scale in order to get through to this movie. Ugh.
And that's the thing. And he's cramming it into, he knows this is his one big shot. He knows it deep down. He doesn't say it. He doesn't, again, with the poor planning ahead. I got to get this all done right now. No, you don't. You could have built up AVG on the movie and had it been about him more or less becoming the nerd and then gaining that popularity. And then the second one is kaiju fight. And then the third one is a UFO battle. And in the fourth, he could have milked the shit out of this. Just didn't plan it.
That was something that cripples the movie is nerd mania. And he's both simultaneously a loser nerd and the most popular figure on Earth at the same time. And somehow he didn't notice there's a contradiction that should have been fixed in revising the script. Somehow,
exactly.
Right over his head.
Consumers rejected it because it was strange and foreign, just like our alien captive in the movie, and real-life immigrants who, sadly, many people blame for all the country's problems. I don't know if it ever came across,
but the
message in the film...
Exactly. Political James drops in twice, spouts off some shit, and then... woo.
That's because that's the last line I have in here. Love your neighbor. Movies don't need to be politics. What he does isn't even tangentially related unless he makes it. But like he mentioned earlier, the kaiju had to come from Japan and go to San Francisco because that's a racist comment right there. San Francisco has the largest Chinatown in the country or some shit like that. And
I didn't pick up on that.
You know what I'm saying? And then he makes it to Vegas.
Unaware. He does.
Yeah, he doesn't know that, but I know it because I had cousins that lived in Vegas, and I have friends in California, and they make jokes about it all the time. They like to take pictures a lot. Asians take a lot of pictures, just so you know.
So James, during this movie, accidentally calls all his fans brain dead zombies. He didn't realize he's doing it. But it's plain as day to a viewer that his fans who want to emulate him are untalented, brain-dead zombies.
And here's the thing. It's a commentary on him, too, because that's exactly how I feel about his music career. He is a brain-dead zombie who buys a Gibson SG and gets a studded belt and likes Black Sabbath too much because they're not really that fucking great. They're pioneered. Just like James pioneered something, but guess what? Wasn't that great because you did it first.
Oh, that is actually a great parallel. Being the first, but then the people after you come and blow your doors off.
And if Comedy Shaman's still watching, because he asked about the new game, which we kind of glossed over, I got distracted in my own brain. The new game is specifically an 8-bit Nintendo Kart release. Like if you own a Nintendo, you can go buy the game and put it in your Nintendo and play it on a CRT. I looked at it.
It's by Screenwave, right?
Yes. RetroWare is the gaming companies. They got away from the Screenwave bit because the slobs of Screenwave.
Because they
it's just too, that rep is too far out there now. So now it's RetroWare. They opened up an arcade, Krusty Justy and Big Ryan fan, by the way. They have like a nice, and that's something I've always wanted to do was like buy a building and have a nice retro arcade in the bottom and then have my apartment or whatever on top. So that way I just walk downstairs and go to work and play video games all day and drink coffee.
I believe that they released a Toxic Avenger beat 'em up.
Mm-hmm.
That does have me kind of interested more than an Angry Video Game Nerd 8-bit game. I would sooner give them a chance on the beat 'em up from the Toxic Avenger.
I prefer beat 'em ups. They're just more fun. I like pick up and play. But to the point that I was making, that game, I'm glad you brought it up, and this new AVGN game for Nintendo look great. They look far more fantastic than any other than like Mario 3 or something like that. Because the techniques to use pixelated shading have evolved so well, you know, like so they know how to do more with less.
Oh yeah, even in 1992, those later NES games, not quite
so much
16-bit, but looks like a different system than the early 1984-5 NES games. I backed this up a little bit so we can laugh at them again, and we've got a bit more of this clip to go.
Many people blame for all the country's problems. I don't know if it ever came across, but the message in the film, in its simplest way, as Kevin put it, is love your neighbor. It was probably too subliminal to notice, and I mostly wanted to back off the politics and just make an entertaining movie.
Love your neighbor is not politics.
Subliminal, he said.
That too.
No, non-existent. The theme of love your neighbor is non-existent. A complete fucking failure if the main theme of your movie was love your neighbor. So when you watch it coming up soon, keep that in mind, that the big theme is love your neighbor.
Love your neighbor.
In this movie. I would actually like James to write a collegiate essay on how this... I need an explanation on how this movie's main theme was love your neighbor. I don't fucking see it.
You got to go dig them up out of the dump and then exploit them for fan base.
That's what happened. Love Your Neighbor was in the layer below the Atari games. They were still getting through the Atari game layer at the end of this movie. So that's what happened there. James wanted to have a special cameo, and this one's fucking odd to me.
The most exciting moment was presenting the finished script to Howard Scott Warshaw. We had a large role planned for him, and I was extremely nervous that he'd turn it down. But fortunately, he agreed to be in it, though he was more comfortable with a smaller, more feasible role.
So this made all the sense in the world to me. There is this character that I'm like, why wasn't that character like a crazy version of Howard Scott Warshaw? And that makes sense. They just added another character, and no one knows what this guy looks or sounds like. Just a small cameo. Like the script needed heavy revising to me instead of a light revising to like, Howard Scott Warshaw, who is not an actor. I feel like James is showing a complete, absolute disrespect for the actors that he had in here by being like, one of the major players is going to be a game designer who's never thought or dreamt about acting in his entire life. To me, they could have done a fictionalized version of him and had some fun and have him cameo as someone else. Drop in as someone else. Maybe calling, directly addressing Howard Scott Warshaw to be like, Warshaw is calling Warshaw a kook.
Or, like in Fear and Loathing when Johnny Depp turns around and Hunter S. Thompson's sitting at the table like, oh shit, that's me. That's a good joke. That was a good joke for me. I like that one. But yeah, one other thing I wanted to point out is that he said it earlier. He kept calling the AVGN stuff web videos versus this being a movie. It's like I was doing web videos and blah, blah, blah. but now he counts them as films in his filmography.
I was going to say that. I've definitely seen him talk. I don't know if it was in this book, but talk about how his reviews are basically just little mini movies. So I guess that's him. Hindsight. I don't know. I don't know which came first. The these are movies, or I'm not going to try to figure out James's thought process there.
Yeah, no, I was burnt out a little bit before. This one really just turned it into anger. I was just getting upset with how he's wording things, how he puts it. Are we into part B? Chapter
was my
B?
last clip of part A, 4 pages.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
4 pages long. It is very
In an
dense.
hour.
The stupid things he says.
I
So
can't
that
time.
I almost didn't go with C, going to chapter C. I'm like, I've got so many, but we're going to get through subsection C today.
Okay. Yeah, there's more
but-
cat talk in subsection C.
Yes, we do.
Coincidentally.
Yes, we do. One of the beloved chatters, I believe it might have been a comment on the last one, talked about the kitties, but that's in C. We are getting to B.
Chapter 5B, Movie Financing.
AKA financial fuck-ups.
This is where James starts addressing comments of the assholish variety and
My first
basically
line.
says, I did not steal the money. I am not a thief. We bungled it. We were wildly incompetent with the money. That's what happened.
That's exactly why I titled it Financial Fuck-Ups, because he was just being so dumb with this money. I'm a poor person, so I know how to make $1 buy me dinner, like with ramen and a soda or whatever the fuck I need to do. He was dumping money on all kinds of shit that he did not need to do. And he was shopping around for, like locations and stuff. And apparently there's some zones and things that I didn't know about. But very early on, a reluctant James bashes fans for wanting more of the same.
Yes, he wanted the nerd to evolve, and a revision would have made him sound less nasty to the people who just wanted more of the web review videos.
Right. And that's what he sounds like he's reluctant saying that. Like he's like, everybody just wants AVGN. And I pointed it out, I think on my last stream when I was talking about it, because my last game show stream was a total debacle. And so I went and looked, and AVGN, 1 million views. Everything else, a third, maybe. If he's lucky, Neighbor Nerds, maybe cracks 80,000. So nobody likes to watch just James and that guy, because if it was James and Mike Matei, it would be 200,000 for sure.
I was
they just want the
big
nerd.
fan for all the wrong reasons of the rental reviews. Those were that, and the podcast got so many hate watches from me because I think I've mentioned it before. They do cover the same movie Red Letter Media does, and I was laughing my ass off at Mike Stoklasa, but James
good.
reviewing that same movie with the slobs, I'm like, why isn't this funny? Why was it so funny with Rich Evans, but not you
That's
guys?
another thing. But that's the point. Mike, Rich, Jack.
Jack's the bald guy, yeah.
Yes, and then the one that does the I can't remember his name. He's got the beard. He looked like a goofball when he was a kid.
The
and he
Wizard, Josh the Wizard.
Josh, thank you. And
the mustachio
they're
guy
friends.
took
They're
a while to grow on me. I like him now, but I did not like the mustachioed Red Letter Media guy for the first couple of videos.
but they're legit friends, and they bring a few satellite people in from time to time. But it's mainly 4 dudes, with a couple rotating out. And they know how to vibe with each other. James just doesn't have that with Justin or Kieran. And
James doesn't
Tony,
have chemistry with like anybody.
Right.
They were those podcasts kind of showed like he needs a jump start. Mike Matei was like a jump start to his personality getting more than
he knew what to say to James, to get a response, Yeah, instead of that. Yep.
Yep.
That's
So
He says
so
"yeah" in this chapter somewhere. I wanted to clip. Yeah.
getting into the financing of the movie. Take it away, James. I said, take it away, James.
The majority of fans were supportive and excited about the idea, but some people had no faith in it. From the very beginning, all they wanted was the same thing, the nerd sitting on the couch commenting on gameplay. But after 100 episodes, I gave them plenty of that. I wanted to get back to my...
Yeah, he sounds
That
like
frustrated
he
me
is
so much.
plenty of that. He
Yep.
sounds like Vince McMahon talking
You're
to one of his
fired.
underlings. The same thing over and over.
Yeah, that really made me upset. And guess what, James? Haters gonna hate, bitch. Hate, hate,
Yeah.
hate, hate, hate. Join Spurgtopia. Discord.gg/Spurgtopia. Hate, 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 hate. Sorry.
Hate. Join Spurgtopia. So I got a clip at the end of this one of James. So let's keep going.
episodes. I gave them plenty of that.
I gave him plenty of that.
Plenty of that. I wanted to get back to my roots and do what I've been practicing my whole life.
I heard that there was this evil monster named Snake. He had an evil army of ghosts. An evil army of ghosts! Don't make me laugh. Snix is dead now. All his evil ghosts are sealed behind that door. Oh, you've got to be kidding. Now, there's no goose back there, is there? I'm going to find out myself if those things are really behind that door. Hold on, Jim. Stop. Oh my God.
James Rolfe presents Snakes.
Preparing his whole life for that that Snicks opening. I didn't have to research far. I was like, let me get something from the Snicks. Oh, the very beginning of the first Snicks.
Yeah,
Fuck
that was
yeah.
good. To
You're
do
right,
that.
Nimrob. That was Chipperson's ghost movie. Fuck yeah. Oh
Yeah. I think that Bimmy's a bit of a Chipperson himself.
fuck yeah. Ugh. Let's go to the next clip. I have nothing to add to
Yeah,
that. Preparing
that
my
was-
whole
that's
life
where
for the
I-
Snicks.
That's where I was really getting upset with him, though, because he's like, you can hear it. He's like, just fuck these guys. They just want me to do the one note thing. Do the line, Bart. Yes, that's what you did. You didn't do and he didn't do anything else soon enough. He was just cranking out nerd. And that's why Board James is kind of the parallel, because he was doing that at the same time, and it came out with the same type of passion. Now it's just crank them out. We got to crank these videos out. My little nerd room garage has to make them all.
Oh man, that tour. Oh, that tour that
Brown
our buddies
electrons.
at Red Cow Arcade covered. Oh my goodness, he thought that was a good idea. That was like the final nail in the coffin for a lot of people teetering on the fence of James fan, Cinemassacre truther, more like that. That behind the scenes video fucking did him in.
Some
Yeah,
said
that really.
I would never complete.
No, go ahead. You're good.
All right,
just laughing.
on to the next clip.
Some said I would never complete the movie. It was a pipe dream. That negativity only fueled my ambitions even more. I wanted to show them I could do it.
I can do
So
it.
this movie did fester incomplete for a year and a half until James cobbled together some shots from his backyard, basement, and garage. So those naysayers were very right for quite a while.
Well, and that's it. Yeah, a lot of these guys, I'm sure, especially around him, were like, they know he has no ability to, he'll do one step, then step two. Instead of going and planning steps 1 through 5, he'll just do 1 and 2 and then kind of wing it the rest of the way. And this is what happens when you don't have
the
a
poor
plan.
planning we addressed from the beginning. This script needed to be revised. So those big special effects. This is a special effects heavy movie. There are a fuck ton of special effects. And whenever they're a miniature, it does not fool your eye for a moment. You know that it is a toy plane, a toy truck. Oof. When the toy van catches on fire, and you can tell it's just a teeny little tiny flame.
See, and like, is he doing that on purpose? Like, is he deliberately trying to make it look shitty? Like he was saying before, like trying to make it look B movie and big budget at the same time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm not sure of the answer of that. If he's using that as a cope, or if that was, or if it was his plan to look that bad the entire time. Because B movies, they work with their limitations. Check out what's his fucking name? Corman. Check out Harvey Corman, Roger Corman. Roger Corman. Harvey Corman is the actor.
yeah.
He made his limitations. James wallowed in his limitations. He's like a pig in mud and shit with his limitations of just rolling around in it with these blatant miniature. So I'm not sure. It might be a cope. It might have been him. The way he describes making a big budget special effects movie sounds like he wanted it to look on par instead of like a man playing with toys in his backyard.
Exactly. That's why I was asking, because I've watched a lot of marionette. Like the modern one is America World Police, Team America World Police, where they use the marionettes and a lot of miniatures. They were doing that shit in the 60s, like really good. Like you knew it was miniatures and stuff, but it was like it was in the reverse. Sometimes they would show a hand on a keyboard typing, and it'd be a human hand, and then they cut back to the marionette, and you're just like, fuck, that took me right out of it. You know, it's very similar to this.
I thought the same thing with Life with Loopy on Kablam TV. Whenever they would have a human in costume wearing hands. I know it was cheaply made, but the Crypt Keeper's hands, for the longest time, I thought those were puppet hands until I come back. I'm like, no, those are definitely somebody's hands, but they look fucking incredible.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He had $300K to make this movie. Less than that. We'll find out how much really went to where.
I think I have that clip.
It's coming up.
It's in this B section where he talks about where the money is, Lebowski.
Yeah, and you mentioned Corbin, and speaking of Red Letter, we'll shout out them again, and then because they brought me this guy, Len Kabraninski. If you want to see somebody make semi-terrible movie. They're not even terrible. They're just low budget. They're low budget. They're like less than $5,000, $10,000. And he doesn't raise a lot of money.
When Len Kabazinski came on for the first time, he actually did say, thanks. You are giving me good input to make these. There
exactly.
was a shot with just pure blackness. They didn't edit the frames perfectly. That was one thing I remember. But I messed that up.
Yeah, and that's why I like him though, because he's pretty good at that. Taking the criticism and moving forward. While we're on the subject of Len, he also does a Nirvana cover band and Tubi movie reviews on his channel. So if you look up Len Kabraninski, you can figure out how to spell it.
Tubi has a glut. That was something I was kicking around. Was the shitty, obscure apps with their movies on them. I definitely need to check out Len Kabazinski's Tubi reviews. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Oh, no problem. Oh, okay. And more to the point, Kevin Smith made Clerks on a $30K budget. That movie cost him $30,000 to make, and it is probably one of the highest cult classics with a low budget like that. You know, you can mention
the dialogue.
Clerks too. Yeah.
Kevin Smith's dialogue was brand new to the audience, and it was just so damn good. And then James's dialogue.
Yeah, that's it, and that is it. That's probably why I don't write scripts or a screenplay, because I'm just terrible at. Like with later Kevin Smith movies, it just sounds like him talking to himself. I know that's how things I would write kind of come out. I got to get better at writing from another perspective.
That's something that James didn't do in this movie. Everyone, there are so many people that steal his thunder by cursing and yelling. There's like half a dozen people in this movie that are James doesn't know. Him and Kevin could not write for a woman. The women in this movie have no character. They are just what they needed to be at that moment to move the plot along.
Cough right through that. Yeah, I agree.
Let's
It's
hear
hard
more
for
about
a
this.
dude to write a woman too. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. More
Actually,
about it?
I love working with women because of that. In working with women in a writer's room, we were able to help each other out on that, of giving me giving the male characters more of a natural voice, and then helping me give my female characters a better voice. But on to the budget.
Yes.
Truthfully, it was going to be hard to do. Very hard. I knew that, but still didn't grasp the whole scope. This was going to take the effort of over 10,000 AVGN episodes combined. Our script was insane, completely batshit crazy. It was theoretically impossible.
Theoretically
But we didn't want that.
impossible. I didn't want that.
Theoretically impossible. Actually impossible. 100% impossible to make on that budget.
We wanted
Exactly.
to do the summer blockbuster equivalent of independent film. Yeah, you're supposed to leave that to Hollywood. Let them make the big epic movies. But we wanted to prove that you can tell a story just as epic without high-level special effects and a $200 million budget. We wouldn't even need a single million, not even $500,000. Although we knew it would cost something. We needed a budget, a small budget, but still a budget.
A budget.
It started getting into word salad there at the beginning. How? How are you going to do this? We're going to do this. How? Oh,
Yeah.
by making it look like utter garbage? Yep, that's how you can do a big special effects movie for under $1 million, by not caring that it looks like complete fucking garbage.
And that's the thing. He's trying to do a Bruckheimer movie with his character for pennies on the dollar. And there's a reason those VFX guys get paid the way they do. They spend hours and hours tweaking shit. You know, it's instead of slapping a Adobe Premiere effect over a green screen thing. And the Grinch Gremlin that came out, the chroma key was so bad. It's like he doesn't even care about that anymore. Because that wasn't any of the Screenwave people that did that. That was him. He's back to doing some of the editing and script writing. It's basically just Big Ryan and Justin in the back seat now, letting this slow train crash.
It was this part where I started screaming and pulling my hair out because of the pre-production I did on the pilot that didn't go anywhere because it was going to be shot in the summer of 2020. And there was a film noir segment, and I couldn't do it justice. So there is no film noir segment. Let's write up which one. I wrote up a reality television segment to take its place, and that was well within budget. And one of my producers was able to procure a food truck for free. So there was just so much fucking thought that I put into this is too expensive. And none of that went in there. Just, we're gonna do it. No consideration at all for how, just, we're gonna do it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He had a stick up his ass about the movie he wanted to make, and it's gonna happen. And it has to happen this way. He was doing that earlier. Like, he's got this, this is my destiny kind of mentality, so it's gonna go this way or that way. And I think when his movie didn't pick up as well as it did, that really, he kind of realized that, you know, the heart doesn't always make the money that you want it to. And that's very devastating for him because he's a film curator.
Those first wave of reviews that he got from like buddies were really saying that this is a decent movie. The nostalgia critic and them, this is a great movie. And then, when the actual reviewers got on it, he had to realize it. It's at some point. Whoops! I wonder if he's like fully admitted that to himself. That's what I want more than anything. That's how James could bring fans back instead of turning into a lolcow. honestly,
But
talk about this movie. Honestly.
same with Aaron. If Aaron would, acquiesce and just be himself instead of trying to be Anthony Cumia radio guy. It's just, dude, just be your fucking dumbass self and we'll make fun of you and let it roll off your back more. Another person that can't take criticism but loves to dish it out.
You just made me laugh thinking of how Aaron Emholt calls himself a clone of Cumia, and we call himself a clone of a clone, like multiplicity. And James is the same way. Like, this is a clone of James. Here, I still have the multiplicity screenshot right there. We're dealing with James, who's cloned himself several times over. Real James loves being a father, and he made this
right.
clone of James. The clone of a clone is what we see now making videos. What it seems.
That does sound like a plot movie that he would do too. It's like, I just can't be up. I have no time. I need to make more James Rolfes.
Oh my God! Why have we not done this? Making our own little spec script on the Multiplicity remake starring James Rolfe as James Rolfe.
There we go. See, we're already spitballing good ideas.
I want you in this, James Rolfe. You can't direct it. I'm sorry. You're not directing.
He won't. If he's going to be in it, he knows better to not direct. He learned his lesson this time. I know that's the big thing. That's the big thing I take away is that he was like, I'm going to make this Hollywood budget movie, or this big budget Hollywood movie with no budget. It's like, no, dude, no. Go to a music store and buy all the cheapest equipment. Hand it to your favorite band. Tell them to play your favorite song. It's going to sound like ass because the equipment isn't there. The computers aren't there for the VFX. The talent of the people who know how to use this better than you weren't there. So I don't know where, I mean, I do know where that we find out it wasn't 325,000. It was about
we're going to get into that within the next couple of clips. As a brush of chaos, pointing out that Ed Wood, not the best person to be an inspiration of. A little bit of drinking himself to death.
Yes, that's exactly right. I was reading.
James is not looking at Ed Wood. Like I mentioned, Corman. He should have been looking at Corman rather than Ed Wood. But that's not what he did.
No, see, here's the thing. I don't think he likes Ed Wood movies. I think he likes Johnny Depp's Ed Wood and thinks that's who he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's romanticizing a guy that isn't the actual guy. He's romanticizing a portrayal of the guy.
I could see that. I'm not going to try to figure out James's thought process on this one.
I don't know.
I've got no clue. I'm not going to try to figure out. I'm just going to go to the next clip as
I'm a natural Spurg whisperer.
This one's titled "No Idea."
None of us had any idea how much something like this would cost, but he was there to figure it out.
Sean Keegan.
That's right.
Who is both Sean Keegan and Kevin Finn are out Los Angeles, never done anything like this before. Your first hires are people who know what they're doing, who've done this before. But this is his two college friends hijacking this from him to, oh man, this was supposed to better your careers, Sean and Kevin. Jesus Christ.
See, I think they just wanted the credit. It's just I directed this project.
They wanted to jump
great,
the line.
But I directed it.
You want the credit, but you want that credit to jump the line from associate producer on a reality television show to first assistant director on something coming up, or producer on, and this did not jump anyone on that line.
Where's the money?
In fact, yeah. Oh.
I didn't realize I started out with I didn't realize I started out with the clip. This one is entitled "Money Mismanagement."
Where's the money, Lebowski? Where's the money, Lebowski?
Over 30% of that money went to taxes. We made the mistake of starting the fundraiser near the end of the year, which is when the majority of the money was raised. We didn't begin production on the movie and start spending the money until after the new year. If all the money was raised and spent the same year, we could have claimed deductibles. But since we were being taxed on the previous year, a large portion of our donations went to federal and state tax. Many people are shocked to learn that. What? You had to pay taxes?
This is just absolutely commenting on the assholish variety people.
This is
Listen
where
to
the yeah
how
comes from.
His
Yeah.
voice is just so angered,
Indignant
so
doesn't even-
agitated
yeah.
right here.
Yeah.
Of those
Indignant doesn't
people
explain
who.
it.
And I wish I would have wrote the YouTubers now. There was some guy who did a review saying, obviously James pocketed the money because he didn't know it's easy to just piss through that money so easily.
Exactly that. And
Let's
that's why
hear
I like your opinion, because I know you know better. Even as a amateur, not an amateur, but like a satellite, a peripheral guy who likes movies, I know not to film in fucking California, Nevada, anywhere out Southwest America. You go to Vancouver and you plan everything around pine trees.
And James planned this around a desert. It must be the desert, just like in real life. That's actually something when doing a hindsight rewrite, I'm like, why can't this just be out in the forest? So fucking
Yeah.
what? It's out in the desert in real life. Why can't you shoot it in Jersey and have the landfill out in the fucking forest in the middle of the woods? Well,
Good point.
that's not where it Who gives a fuck?
See,
This
that's
is a movie.
That's the thing. That's James. It has to be this way. Because he thinks it's his destiny. He is fulfilling his own self-prophecy. I made this movie in Hollywood. I made a big budget film. I premiered it at the China Theater, and it sucked. I'm not getting a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I'm not getting my Steven Spielberg shout out.
Before we go down that rant, let me hear James agitated one more time.
Yes, please.
Many people are shocked to learn that. What? You had to pay taxes? Yeah.
That one. That's the yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
he's
going
so
on the board.
pissed off. So basically, from what I'm piecing together, it sounds like that Sean Keegan, just in desperation, it started this Indiegogo campaign. I don't believe that he told the other guys he was doing it. I think they just got shut down at every opportunity, and we're in pre-production. We have no money. What do I do? And this is another thing that was pioneering at the time of crowdfunding a film. And not as much of a pioneer as he is at online sketch comedy. One of the first, but not an example that anyone lives up to copy at all. Oh yeah, and I mentioned of
Still here? Not here?
our buddy. Yeah, I'm here. Are you here? Oh boy, one of us can't see. Fuck, I lost my train of thought. Kevin Finn, he is. Looks like we've lost Spurg Snake. Kevin Finn, as a reality television producer, has definitely learned how to manipulate people. But that's the skills that you learn as a reality television producer. And he didn't learn how to budget a movie, which you would hope someone as a producer would do. I'm going to bring Spurg Snake down here, or no, yeah, we'll just leave him up as I go to this next clip. Hopefully he'll be back. I might be ending this show solo as we get to the next clip, money mismanagement.
Many people didn't understand that $325,000 was the gross income.
Can you hear?
Yeah. I don't know. StreamYard kind of kicked me out, so I just left and came back. Sorry about that. I
We'll have to
apologize.
troubleshoot on that afterwards. That hasn't happened before. But I was just
I
setting
think
up
it was
the...
my browser.
Cool. Setting up the next clip. I've had to go to Chrome. It used to be my default, and now it's being a pain in the ass. I've got to use Microsoft Edge. But that's neither here nor there for this review, as James talks
Sorry,
about the
yeah.
money mismanagement some more.
Many people didn't understand that $325,000 was the gross income, not the net income. All they saw was that number on the Indiegogo page. It was an impressive number, and it's what the fans truly donated, But we didn't get all that. Our budget shrunk. There was also a trust factor. Some people on the internet assume the worst of you. It's the way it goes. They thought I'd pocket the money. I never actually even touched any of the money. It never passed through my personal finances.
Someone stole my car. There was an earthquake. A terrible flood. Logan, it wasn't my fault. I swear to God.
We had that drop back when he was talking about getting expelled. And it sounds very similar, once again, to him defending not stealing the money. Nope, money not stolen. Mismanagement.
Yeah, I know. He didn't even need to address that, really. Yeah, this is actually kind of worse that it comes off that he mismanaged $300,000 than if he would have stolen it, would have been like, yeah, he's a dick. Okay, great. But now, he's just poor money. Why would you? Nobody's giving him any more money. And he crowdfunded the credits. Like, I guess he put everybody who put a certain amount of money, like $10 or $20, was like in the end credits. Like, there's big cards with a bunch of tiny print on it.
Which is something for a certain money amount. You get an associate producer credit for, but yeah, sounds like he put a bunch more than just those associate producer credits.
My main source of personal income was making AVGN episodes, but while I was shooting the movie, I didn't make a single episode for 7 months. It was like putting my job on halt. I also had to pay rent on an apartment in Los Angeles while simultaneously paying a mortgage on my house back on the East Coast.
He was kind of getting into this bitching about finances when he was leaving his job with that crazy person a couple chapters ago, and it just doesn't fit in this book. It's complaining about your finances, mortgage and rent. Well, that wouldn't have been a problem if you would have shot in New Jersey.
That is a bit of a theme throughout the book, too, is that he's just, money was always on his mind. Like, how am I paying for this? How am I paying for that? What's going on over here? He definitely is not good at managing his cash. I know Babe Earl takes care of all of the money in the house. She's running the whole ship. He just has to, do
James has given
stuff.
us enough evidence to come to that conclusion that she does do that. I do not doubt that at all.
Right. Yeah, especially now.
And we have a bit more of this clip to go.
Also, my personal taxes were raised. Because I was the owner of AVGN Movie LLC, it put me in a higher tax bracket personally when it should have been treated as separate. So I had to pay extra tax, a higher percentage, on my personal account.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
That's what I felt like at the end of that financial rambling.
I didn't get the clip that I wanted. From C-Lab 2021, the one guy says, "You're a big idiot," or no, "You're a know-nothing idiot that knows nothing," because that's James to me right now. He's just a know-nothing who thinks he knows some shit and then finds out he's wrong and blames other people for it. Like, you're not matching up to his...
We're getting that out of your own words. We're getting that out of James's own words. What a fucking miss. Just a bit outside.
Just
what he attempted.
Wide outside.
Of us coming... Like, the way this book is structured, he is a movie-making nerd. This has all been leading up, and I made more movies, and I learned in college how to make movies. And now this is the big movie. You've structured this so fucked up, James, to make... Oh, man.
Yeah, to make just barely over minimum wage. I think he says that right after that clip that you had. He's like, I was making about minimum wage.
It might be he was making this next clip. It may or may not be in this final clip from subsection B here. And
2 sections, just so everybody knows. This is 2 sections.
We've got less than 10 pages. We've gone less than 10 pages here in this review because James just said so much shit to make me point and laugh like Nelson. Ha ha.
100%. And I also like the Truth or subreddit. There's so much. I know a lot of them have read the book, but there's way too much shit in here that needs to be memed out. This guy needs, I don't know. He can He's got it coming to him.
Yeah, which is kind of the point we've come across of this, of pointing out the most stupid shit. We could even slow down the first couple of chapters even more to point out some more stupid shit, probably. But
Oh, yeah.
no, we're not going backwards. No fucking way are we going
I don't
back
wanna
to
do
chapter
that.
1 through 4 ever.
Because I know I
You can
skipped a
watch
few
them.
things. Yeah, no, I know I skipped
we
a
didn't-
few nitpicky things that I could have been. He said this too, like that.
And we've just gotten more nitpicky as it goes along, because it's, what are we going to do? Nitpicking the slow adult. Oh yeah, those other the special ed rules.
His
Another
classmates.
thing. Oh fuck! Why is this in your book? So
The
here's some more
color-coded
money.
system meant a
Here's
lot
some
to
more
him.
money mismanagement from subchapter B.
Eventually, when the movie was finally finished, years later, it started earning income. It got divided up between everybody, and I was finally able to recover my personal expenses. Until then, it was just a huge gamble, like holding my breath. If you count all the hours spent making the film, I probably made minimum wage. Imagine
he does
working
that.
a minimum wage job where you don't get paid for years. In the meantime, you just have to survive. The purpose was never to make a profit. That's not what I cared about. I just wanted to make a movie.
A movie is a business. You want to break even on that.
At least.
So
I didn't want it to make money. You don't want it to
something else,
lose
James-
money, idiot. Sorry.
Something else James says in here, it's a gamble, like holding your breath. Holding your breath isn't a gamble. That's how you die. I'm over here playing roulette, and fucking Purple James has a tie tied around his neck to hold. It's gambling, like holding your breath. That actually does make sense. Instead of playing blackjack, you were just there.
Waiting for 21 to show up.
Okay, we're
Unreal.
finally out
Unreal.
of. Do you have anything more for subsection
That's-
B? Because that's my last clip.
No, I'm gonna go back and get that later, and he's got this vision of who he is, and it's not lining up with how the world sees him, and he's slowly figuring out that shit just doesn't go your way all the time. I think he woke up one day and was 42 and said, "Damn, I thought I was gonna be George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, Scorsese, and now he's still just hanging out in the nerd room by himself." Or with
Brush
John,
of Chaos is wondering how many times has James chosen continue by this point. There were 3 mentions of self-deletion.
ADDA.
I'm going with 3 because the self-deletion when he was crying on the beach, the self-deletion in Shitmart, and the self-deletion after his first girlfriend broke up with him. And I guess
it's so funny to me.
I guess James has had sexual intercourse with 2 women in his entire lifetime. He doesn't mention sex at all, but
Ever.
as broken up as he was of that first girlfriend, I think he got the tang on that one, and then
That was the
April
one.
came along. There's,
Yep.
I judging by there's a lot you got to read between the lines. When you're just reading this book, it fucking sucks. But reading between the lines, things like that becomes very fun.
And that's what I mean, like the Truther subreddit. I know there's people that read this book, but I think some of them just like got fed up and chucked it out the window, halfway through chapter 3. It was this fucking guy. Be done with it.
It's like American Hustle made me sit through a shitty movie in order to get to a good movie. You have got to sit through a shitty book in order to get to another shitty book.
Deadpool, I don't think he's a liar. I do think he's an idiot. He's very much like just a naive dummy. He probably didn't. I know he didn't do anything nefarious. He wouldn't. He's not that kind of person. But he doesn't need to apologize for being a filmmaker. He needs to apologize for being overly pretentious to his fans and sniffing his own farts. Do we have any of that around? Wine glass.
I don't have that that clip
but that's-
at hand. The South Park sniffing their own farts. I've got it somewhere, just not at hand right now at this moment. And I kind of understand that to a point. Not caring about money as much is really what you mean. I don't care about the money as much as completing my own film. So to me, that's how I would phrase it. I care about the money. Fuck yes, I want to make it, but it doesn't matter as much as completing the project and showing that I could do it. Just little things like that. A publisher would have improved. And this chapter, a publisher would have thrown it right back in your face, saying, "You sound like a little crying bitch. Do it again. Or delete it. This is not going in the book."
And that's not the... He complains about his finances at least as many times as he commits suicide, It's like he couldn't handle working at Shitmark because it was highly stressful and low wage. He hated working at the editor job that he had because it was editing forklift videos and it was like too many cookies or whatever he was comparing it to. And, that kind of... And then now this, like, he's just... I gotta pay my rent. I gotta pay my mortgage. I gotta buy a car. I gotta do... Yeah, no shit, dude. It's called being an adult, you dummy. If you don't have a driver's license, you're not an adult. I am not an adult. I know I'm not an adult. You know what I mean? I know I'm not like a real adult.
It kind of stinks as we're getting up into the late 30s and 40s that we're like, fuck, I could have swore that my uncles and my dad were very much an adult at this age. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. I feel like I don't own enough or something. Like I should have, at least a shotgun in the house or something like that, like an adult item. That's not sex related anyway.
Porn.
Yeah.
Because if the internet goes, you need that physical media. You don't know when you're going to see used cars again, unless you have it on VHS. Oh, Johnny Dangerously. I bought that recently because you can't find it anywhere online. I need a physical VHS of Johnny Dangerously. And they just so happen to have used cars.
You'll remember the name because you're smarter than me, but there was a movie that was brought to my attention that features Norm Macdonald and Sherman Hemsley and Dave Chappelle.
The movie.
Thank you. Yes, I got to watch that.
I think we talked about it just a little bit in the review that YouTube took down. That was a fun review, the Dirty Work review. But yeah, YouTube was like, I know we said these clips are okay. Not anymore. Take it down.
That's so, like I was mentioning about Oingo Boingo, they're so hit and miss. They just don't, it's not consistent at all. Thanks, Internet.
Chapter 5.
Oh, yeah.
And thanks for, I didn't know that the Dilbert theme was an Oingo Boingo song. Found that out through your Oingo Boingo collection. As we get to the...
Somebody mentioned the Forbidden Zone, and it's like an old, weird...
Yeah, the movie. Someone mentioned the movie. That's what got... The Oingo Boingo Dilbert theme is called Forbidden Zone.
Right. Good stuff.
Okay. We got a little sidetracked there. Just a few more clips. This is 2 pages of a chapter, and once again, I found myself almost clipping the entire thing for a start and stop, and I was like, all right, let's get this down to less clips.
Chapter 5C, Leaving Home Base.
And he gets into...
Okay, can I name my subsection? Nerdbird leaves the nest.
So pre-production starts, and everything is... Oh, you did it again. I think I know what the problem may be. I'll let you know off the air. I'll go ahead and remove you. This was happening to our buddy Hackride as well, and figured out what the issue was there. So hopefully Spurgsnake will be back in time for this clip. I could play something in the interim from the... Oh, this is something to play in the interim until he gets back.
Meow. Meow.
It's in your book. Meow is in your book. It's so... My favorite line of the entire book is that meow. He's had...
Meow.
He's had some doozies, but that meow is completely my favorite.
I wonder if Spectrum's having issues or it's me. I don't know.
I've got an idea. I'll talk to you afterwards what I think it may be. It was happening to our buddy Hackride. And onto this next... this next clip. So pre-production starts and everything is in disarray. The script was never revised. Like it's $1.5 million to $3 million script. Minimum. And they had $200,000-ish. I guess I didn't pull the clip where he said $8,000 went to headshots. That was one of the perks for the fans, that at the end of the day, shipping and printing and all that, $8,000 gone, a third of it gone. So it sounds like we're in the neighborhood of $200,000 rather than $250,000.
Yeah, he's... Oh, God, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to set up the clip. If you got anything to add, go right ahead, sir.
Oh, yeah, no, he mentioned it earlier. He paid... Deadpool mentioned it. He started at the end of the year, so Fedi government got him. I don't know if the PayPal clip made it in, but he got it from Indiegogo or Kickstarter or wherever. Kickstarter took a cut. Then he transferred it to PayPal. PayPal took a cut. And then it made it into a bank account that was set up specifically for the movie. So I'm guessing it was about $200,000 after all said and done. Everybody got a fucking handout before he even got the money. And it went through 3 financial transfers.
And trying to figure out what it was, I think we're closer to 200,000 than 250 or the 325, which he initially got. As James explains to us now, why Los Angeles?
I mentioned before that it was shot in Los Angeles. That decision was a bit anti-Cinemassacre. I would have felt more comfortable doing it on my own turf. However, the previous year, it snowed on Halloween. And in general, it always rains. The weather on the East Coast sucks. It's no wonder why everybody films in LA. Also, a lot of the film takes place in the desert, which doesn't exist on
Which didn't need to happen. It could be in a forest.
The East Coast. It would be too expensive to fly the cast between 2 coasts and put them in hotels. So we decided the whole movie would be shot in LA. Kevin and Sean were already living there, so it made sense.
That sounds very suspicious to me, that's
the
Kevin and Sean fed James this line about weather, and he just regurgitates it anytime when he's asked about it. But because it's simpler for Sean and Kevin to do it out in Los Angeles, it just sounds like that they have hijacked this idea away from James at this point.
I agree. I think James contacted Finn and was like, hey, man, I got this project I'm working on and I want your help. And then, yes, a project. Yes. And then, so, let me drive. And then all the money was gone. James, here's another thing I want to bring up that a lot of people have noticed. James took acting classes and now he acts worse.
It is 2 different things to act for stage and act for screen. I am naturally a terrible screen actor because I go with my over-the-top theatrical training, and that's kind of what James is doing. He's doing theatrical type of acting where everyone all the way up in the top rows can make sure you see what's going on. As seen by that face down there.
Yes, he hears theatrics and he hears the word theatrics and doesn't think necessarily projecting into a theater. He thinks cartoons or something like that. Like it's theatrical, has a different definition to him or something. And one more thing real quick. Coach Principal Uncertainty. Yes, it's somewhere between a after-hours bar and a cyberpunk nightclub. I got my purple.
All right. After-hours bar. I need me a whiskey and everywhere else is closed. I'll just make sure I knock.
Whiskey?
The special knock to get my
super
3 a.m. whiskey. Onto this chapter is... Take it away, James.
I was nervous about going to LA. I'd be out of my element for several months.
Donnie, you're out of your element, dude!
Far away from my home base at Cinemassacre. It meant taking my wife and cats away from our familiar comfort zone. Naturally, I had to take the family. My wife was supportive. It can't be overstated how much she sacrificed to make this.
Stop giving my wife shit. She was supportive and she helped.
Yeah.
Everyone stop shitting on Beeprel.
This film happen. And as a master planner, found us an apartment with a monthly lease to stay at.
Oh, You have it already. Good.
Yeah, there was the unhappy cats there in the middle of the garbage in Hollywood Boulevard.
To stay at.
They're not having a good time.
So I was sitting there with the one night. I think I sent you the MP3 already of the kitty song from Presidents of the United States, but it's James
I
Rolfe.
wanted to include that in the episode because I thought it was the kitty song that I mentioned from The Sopranos in Visiting Day, and then I'm like, shit, Presidency of the United States. That's YouTube won't like that. I know real music. It went together so fucking good. Maybe I'll just take the hit. Like no one's watching these. It doesn't matter if they're not monetized with that. But I mean, statistically, no one is watching this. Thank you, several hundred people, for sticking by.
I appreciate it. Yeah, definitely, especially with this subject.
So that's I crack myself too much with that dumb fucking gag of his miserable cats. So if April is this expert planner, why isn't she a producer? What the fuck was Kevin and Sean doing? Because they weren't planning. They were not expert planners. If you have an expert planner, bam, and you can give her a low rate because she's your wife.
I think she did a lot on the movie too. I
remember.
I want to say she was involved with casting or something weird.
Yes, that's what I read that she was involved in with casting, and I think it kind of shows why you hire a professional casting agent, a casting director, because Mandy was not the right person for that role. They killed Cooper's career dead. Sorry, little Bernie Mac, you are no longer allowed in Hollywood.
That sucks. That kid wasn't bad on Bernie Mac.
Yeah, he was a fantastic wiener kid on Bernie Mac. But him, what was it, humping the pinball machine? No, he's humping the table. That's a lot of people are going to remember you for humping the table rather than being the best little wiener kid on television.
I'm pretty sure that's Jif, too.
Yes, it is. The people really caught on to Cooper humping the table.
They eventually got used to it.
So, James, one of our commenters mentioned this last time of the two cats. This is, at minimum, extremely agitating for them, possibly traumatic for cats to take them out of their home environment. And for 2-3 months, by the time that they actually get accustomed to this place on the West Coast, you're going to traumatize them again. Cat parents are unhappy with you at this point, James.
Yeah, he puts them in the car. Yeah, there's a lot of cat talk this chapter, by the way.
I almost clipped more cat talk, but I cut it down to 3 because we are running long already for this episode. I like to wrap these up in 90 minutes rather than 2 minutes.
90.
Kind of arbitrary, but I don't want to stick around for too long. And that was the last clip that I have, and I was going to take some of these down, but this is a discussion. We are trying to find all of the dumb shit that the Cinemassacre Truth may not have found yet. So we are really digging in to James's arrogance, ignorance, and ignorance. Yes, the arrogance and ignorance.
I'm kind of stuck on that, but I think he has this like timeline in his head that he has to match up to. He has markers in his mind that he wants to hit at a certain time, and he has to fulfill certain things in order to hit those markers. It's so weird to me. I used to think like that, but then I turned 17 and I was like, oh, the real world happens. You know, it's just, if you grow up watching sitcoms and shit like I did, you do get an idea of what a family should be. But it's a television family. That's not real. There's so many different families out in the real world. You can't capture all of it. And that's, he just is trying to be this, I don't know, high school sweetheart Hallmark movie thing. And it's not. Coach said it. Why is this guy so writing about all this bland shit? It's because he's doing regular shit. And to him, it's
I've got a
up
better
there.
title for this book: The Surprisingly Uneventful Life of James Rolfe.
I agree. I mean, there's good things that the events that do happen pay off for him well, but in between that, it's a lot of naps.
I know how I want to restructure this book. I've kind of talked about it while we've been going over this. Really focus in on that crazy boss. Focus in on this time of your life. But
I agree.
Actually, this is a
Let us
page
learn
one
more
rewrite.
about you.
In fact, 100%. Both your movie script and your book manuscript, page one rewrite. This is all kinds of fucked up. And the fact that James is a fan of autobiographies the same way he's a fan of film. How are you a fan? And this is the end result.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
How do you not get it?
That's one of the mysteries for us on the outside. You know, we're like, oh, you're not seeing what we see. Same with Aaron. You're not seeing what we see. Same with almost any of the other ones that you could name. DSP too. Well, he's a little more self-aware, I think, now, but you know, he would treat his audience like we're stupid. They all think we're dumb. I think James thinks we're stupid. You know, like he meets a bunch of Comic-Con dorks and he thinks that's the real world. Same with Aaron. He talks to 5 people on the internet. That's the entire internet. No, it's not. It doesn't work that way.
James has been talking to the reader like a child a good bit. That's one of the many parallels between him and solid lol cow Aaron Imholt. Maybe we can get James in a boxing ring. That was his first movie, Jimmy Rolfe versus Punching Bag. Let's get him back in the ring for a little player one versus player one. Him versus Aaron Imholt.
And I'm guessing they're about the same size too. Aaron might be a little taller, but they both look about 6 foot something.
Yeah, they both have that lanky kind of tall guy look with a fucked up balding pattern. Different fucked up balding patterns. I want to make this happen. We are going to promote Multiplicity remake starring James Rolfe as James Rolfe and James Rolfe versus Aaron Imholt. I don't know if we can get that fight sanctioned. Aaron done fucked himself over good with trying to get one over on the trolls with the American Boxing Association.
We just need to set up a ring in a bar or a warehouse. James needs a cut man and Aaron needs a cut man. That's it. And I agree, principled.
Yeah, I do like Coach Principled Uncertainty's parallel. Opened a baker's, sold no bread, no biggie. Just wanted to play baker. So what? So what?
Yeah, who cares that I spent all this money on renting out a kitchen and a storefront, and you know what I mean? Like that's exactly how it comes off.
If he would have pissed away the budget on purpose, like Tom Green did for Freddy Got Fingered, that would be one thing. But he didn't do this on purpose.
I would watch Freddy Got Fingered probably over most of what James has done, except for the early stuff.
Definitely movie-wise, would watch that over. And what else can people watch over on your channel as we start to wrap up for the day? Thank you, James, for being...
I've got
no words.
The Chapter C part, the one more thing in the Chapter C where he's leaving and talking about having to go film in L.A., this is the part where he leaves motherfucker Mike all to his lonesome with all of the AVGN stuff.
That's
like
right.
Mike had unfettered access to the AVGN channel, Cinemassacre channel, and put out the Inspector Gadget Brown Bricks video, the Elmo commentary video, which was wildly... Nobody liked it. I think maybe me, because it was so stupid and over the top and just vulgar with Sesame Street. And fair to Mike, he does a pretty good Elmo.
And you can see how... when you have good comedy teams, they feed each other. James and Mike together fed into each other and gave a product that we enjoyed for quite a while. James alone and Mike alone,
no balance,
man. But together, so much better than if they were solo.
Yeah, they do have a good synergy.
I was thinking of that Inspector Gadget video. That has become absolutely infamous. When Mike is left to his own devices, he gets Inspector Gadget. when you have a buddy next to him, it gets better.
Right. The brown electrons username in the chat, that's two separate references to two separate memes. And it's so funny to me. So it's brown bricks from that video, and Big Ryan can move electrons through space with his mind. But like, I think he was doing some sort of like stoner talk, or he was like high or something, and he was like, just dude, we're all electrons moving through space. Like, it was like this prolific thought to him, and it's like, yeah, dude. Or like when somebody realizes how photosynthesis works, like the heat from the sun grows a plant, and then we burn the plants for heat. You know what I mean? Like, it's reality works in mysterious ways, man. But I'm done with that. The only other thing I'm going to do is at Spurgsnake, anywhere, YouTube, Twitter, basically. Not anywhere, just those two.
Monday nights for video games, pop-ups for live music streams over on Spurgsnake's channel. And every Wednesday, we do some sort of nonsense here. I am Dylan from somewhere. Wednesdays and Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern, I do some sort of nonsense. I believe it'll be a co-host audition tomorrow. I was thinking of heading out of town, so I didn't book anyone for Live from Somewhere. 2K will be back for Live from Somewhere next Thursday, and we do this every other week, this movie-making nerd review, until we're finished. I thought we would have gotten further today, but maybe this will end up being 38 parts if James is this dense with things to point and laugh at.
I agree, and we just went through most of the financial stuff. And he finally got to L.A. He packed up the cats. He drove out from Jersey to L.A., 3,000 miles with 2 cats in the fucking car. And we got the expenses down now. We know we kind of know where the money went and how it got spent. And when we come back in 2 weeks, we'll get back into like the logistics and expenses and more financial fucking up. Because it's just one mitigated disaster after another. Like he wants to do A, well, he can't do A. Well, let's do B. Well, I can't do B. Well, we're doing B. You know, like he just like forces these things to happen. And
I had so much fun in the pre-production of my pilot that never was, of editing the scripts and then editing which days. None of these guys did that at all. And I had such a blast doing that, which is why I'm like, you know what? I need to go back to Hollywood and start on the bottom rung so I can start doing that. Well, not Hollywood, Atlanta. I went to Hollywood. Let's try one of the other cities. Get my Vancouver, the old try. So that is all for this week. I am baffled by James. Thank all you folks for joining. As I said, like, subscribe, notification bell, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 2 p.m. Eastern. For now, if that changes, I'll let you know. Thank you all for joining. Help this video out with all those nonsenses of, what's the word I'm looking for? Interacting. All the nonsense interacting, like everyone else says, as I fall flat on my face, stammering at the end of this episode. I got some more post points for that. Please come back again. Thanks for joining.
Yeah.
Feel free to go
thank you,
away.
everybody. We appreciate it. Yeah, get up.
Well, it looks like that's all the time we have for today. Thank you for going on this adventure with me. It's fun being with friends. I'll see you next time. Bye now.
Bye for now.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day.
Places all. All join hands, circle left. Now circle right and listen to me. LSMFT. Elementary corners like swinging on a gate. To right, dear honey, with the right left date. Grand right and left around you go. Lucky strike means fine tobacco. Meet your honey and give her a whirl. All swing around with the little girls. Smoke 'em, then you'll see. LSMFT. Promenade and don't you fall. Promenade around the hall. Lucky strike is first again with tobacco men. Promenade straight down the pike. It's time right now for a lucky strike. Yes, for smoking that you're bound to like, you just can't beat a lucky strike.